The mics are on, we're off to Neverland, and this is episode 7 of Our Disney Opinions. My name is Jason, I am one of your hosts, and I am joined by my lovely co-host in life. Her name is Julie, and she sounds just like this.
Welcome back.
Excellent. And that's not all. We are also joined by Amy Fisher from Goofy Getaways. She is the social media manager, she is a travel planner, and she sounds just like this.
Hello.
Excellent. We have guests in person.
I'm so excited.
It's our first in-person guest.
I feel so official now.
That's awesome. And we've brought her here because she was the only person in this room who was at the 50th anniversary kickoff for Walt Disney World.
Somebody had to do it.
It's a tough job. That is rough. I'm
so glad you took one for the team there.
Right. I mean, you're welcome.
The most magical celebration on Earth? Is that the
in
official?
The world?
In the
I
world?
think they called it.
Okay.
Most magical celebration in the world.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, we will talk about that in a little bit. But as always, we're going to start off with 3 things. Julie, do you have one that you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
That's fine. Okay, so my 3 things is your 3 favorite desserts on Walt Disney World property.
Ooh.
So it doesn't have to be in the parks. It can be at a resort.
That's going to be fun. Do you want to jump right in, or do you want me to go, Amy?
I'll let you go because I'm trying to decide.
Okay.
There's a lot of good options.
There's a lot. I love, and I can't narrow it down to a specific dessert, but it's the patisserie in France at Epcot, and that beautiful glass case full of not only emotion but delicious desserts.
You took mine.
Well, there's a lot of desserts there to pick from.
That's true.
So I love that. And it used to be that we'd go there and grab dessert and then walk out and see Illuminations, Reflections of Earth. But that time has passed, and now it will be Harmonious. So that's good news. So that's one. I'm a big ice cream fan, and there is really good hand-dipped ice cream on Sunset Boulevard at Hollywood Studios that always sticks in my mind. And I know there's also good hand-dipped ice cream in France, but I would pick the one at Studios on Sunset in that market right by Tower and Fantasmic. I love that place. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the best ice cream on property. It probably isn't, but I enjoy it.
Okay.
I like the atmosphere. I
didn't ask you I don't think I said what the best was, what your favorite is.
Just my 3 favorites?
Yeah.
Goodness. And then a third one, they're racing through my head. I do like Beaches and Cream so much. Just anything from Beaches and Cream. How about that? Is that kind of a cop-out?
It's okay.
Okay.
There's no pressure here. This is a low pressure situation.
I've got the recorder, so I'm in charge. So.
Okay.
How about you?
All right. Okay, so I went a little more basic for mine. The patisserie was one of mine, but I'll narrow it down a little bit and I'll say anything chocolate.
Oh.
I don't want your lemon anything. Give me whatever the chocolate is out of
You're on vacation. You want the most
Yes.
chocolate calories you can get.
Exactly.
Love it.
I also went for citrus swirl when you can get them. I'm surprised you didn't say that one.
Well,
I thought for sure that was the one you were going to take off my list.
No, because I was bummed out because this summer they were back to the not frozen orange juice, but frozen, or not frozen orange juice, but they're using the orange Dole Whip, which is not the same.
That's true.
It's not a true, authentic citrus swirl.
That's true. But they flip-flop back and forth so many times that I have faith that it's going to come back around.
I hope so.
So
I'd love
I'm
that
leaving
to
it
be
on
true.
my list.
Okay, fair enough.
And then my last one, I have to have a Mickey bar every time that I'm there. So that's my third one.
Excellent. All right, Amy.
Okay. So the No Way Jose at Beaches and Cream.
Oh.
It's the one with the peanut butter in it, and it's like anything with chocolate and peanut butter, I'm usually going to be a pretty happy camper, and that is so good. I do highly recommend sharing that though, because oh my gosh, it's huge.
Almost
I
everything
was
there.
Gonna say, all their stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the kitchen sink is
Right.
infinitely shareable.
Yeah, that
but,
one's definitely, you can't do that
some
alone.
strangers.
So, but even No Way Jose, like you gotta tag team that one a little, and then I don't even remember what it's called because I don't know if it's back on the menu yet or not at Ohana. It's like their bread pudding or something like that at the end. Like the dessert at the end of dinner is
Yeah.
So good.
I feel like it was a pineapple, like a pineapple bread pudding for a while or something
and
like that.
It's amazing. And
Yeah.
I originally read the description and I was like, that's not for me. I don't really care about, caramel or anything like that. But that stuff is very good. So good. And then I think, my last official winner is also at the bakery in France, the strawberry tart that you can get there. Because it's always I don't know how they pick the perfect strawberries every single time, but it doesn't matter what time of year that you go, that tastes like summer and it's delicious.
It's so pretty too.
It is.
It's just beautiful.
It is.
Yeah. I'm sure the strawberries come from living with the land.
Probably.
As long as some lady doesn't steal them, jump out of the boat
Right,
and steal them.
stole the cucumber.
Yep. That's why there's no cucumber stuff at Disney right now. They're all locked down.
Yeah, cucumber lockdown.
So, all right.
All right.
Well,
What's
then
yours?
my 3 things, I want to know 3 things on Disney property that you think are underrated. What isn't getting enough attention on Disney property that you think deserves more? And I can go first if you want, but...
Ooh. Okay, you go first.
You want to go, Amy?
No, go ahead and
Okay.
go first because
Okay.
I've got 2, but I'm trying to think of a third. So.
All right. My first one we've talked about before, and I think to this day Muppet Vision 3D, 4D does not get the credit it deserves, especially with how many people at this point who are booking the trips are people who were raised on the Muppets. That line should be long. That attraction should be popular. The pre-show is filled with genius writing, whoops, dropped your pot, and the penguins, and now I can't remember half the pre-show. But anyway, I love Muppet Vision, and the one that we discovered on this last trip was breakfast at Ale and Compass. I was so impressed with that breakfast. The dark chocolate waffles, and what did you have, honey? The crab. You had crab Benedict.
Yeah, I did.
And the one that we skipped was the caramel apple French toast or something. It's just...
Yeah.
It's stuff that they weren't doing at other restaurants on property, and I think it gets it gets overlooked a little bit.
And the kids got that awesome little s'more thing for breakfast. That was amazing. It had chocolate mousse in the middle.
It was a s'more
and
that was
toasted
it was like a
marshmallow meringue. It was awesome.
There was a graham cracker base, then a big marshmallow Mickey looking thing, but inside the Mickey looking thing was chocolate mousse.
Oh my gosh.
And they called it a s'more. And so I was expecting just to see some kind of prepackaged, in my mind it was going to be an Uncrustable that was a s'more. I don't know why that's what I thought, but when it came to the table, we ordered a second one for our son who didn't order that meal just to take with him. So those are my 2. And then what was my third one? Oh, my third one was the walking trails at Animal Kingdom. I love that you can take them at your own pace, and the animals when I'm there, tend to be out and be interacting, and I love the gorillas, I love the tigers, I love the bats, and just all the little things along the way, and it's super relaxing. And
we almost never get to do all of that stuff because we're always in such a rush.
I know.
But you're right, that's a really fun one.
But we have in the past, when the kids were littler, that was a good, quiet stroll, but you could also get pretty up close to the animals. So those are my 3 that I think
all right
deserve more attention. So go have breakfast and then go over to Animal Kingdom. Now.
Those were good. I like those. Okay. Do you want to go next, Amy?
Sure.
Okay.
So I'm going to play off of your Animal Kingdom card and also talk about the Rafiki's Planet area. Because I think that is under-recognized and utilized as well. Because you can go back, you can see lots of animals. You get to kind of see the behind the scenes. So if you've watched, what is it called? A Day in the Life on Disney Plus.
Yes.
And you get to learn about the different animals that they have there. You get to go past the different areas. And we saw the baby rhino in his area the other day when we rode on the train. And it's just so cute. And they have the animation experience back there.
Yes.
And people don't realize that that's back there.
Because it's a strange place for that.
Yeah, it is an odd place for it. But it's very cool. And it's a nice, again, place to get away from some of the crowds. And I think people don't even recognize that it's there. So that one I would definitely say. The next part would be the water parks at Disney, honestly. I went for the first time on this last trip, and I was always like, I don't think I'm a water park person. Oh my gosh, I'm a Disney water park person.
Agreed.
Because they are such a good
Yeah,
time.
they are.
And even just like floating in the lazy river. Wow. And again, the crowds are so different from what you see in the theme park.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you want to feel like you're on vacation and yet still enjoy like the customer service and the detail level that Disney does,
Yeah, for sure.
water parks are a great place to go and visit.
Yeah, and they do get.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, they get crowded in the summer.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
everything gets crowded in the summer.
They
Right.
do.
I mean, that-
But you're right about them being just another level of water park. I feel like the Disney water parks have spoiled me to any
yeah.
other water
Oh,
Yeah,
parks.
yeah.
And the fact that there's so many different water slides that don't even have height restrictions, so kids of any
Yeah.
age can enjoy them and all of that too.
Yeah, it's really accessible.
It's a really good option. Then my third one, I keep going back and forth between a couple different options, but honestly, I would just say the entire Boardwalk area. I think people don't realize A, that it's there, but B, how cool it is, the food options that are available there to you. I personally love to stay at Boardwalk Area resorts just because I love being able to walk around the boardwalk or just sit out there at night and watch people go by or look at the water. And heck, you can watch Epcot's fireworks show
Absolutely.
and all of
Yes.
that. Like that Boardwalk area
Yes.
is just
Yeah,
not utilized by enough people, which is
You're
great
right.
for me because I'm going
absolutely.
to use it.
There you go. Absolutely. Yeah, we did a 4th of July once where we didn't want to go in the parks, but we went and had dinner over at Beach Club, and then stood out on the beach and watched 4th of July fireworks for Epcot, 4th of July fireworks for Studios. Didn't have to get in the craziness of the parks.
Perfect.
It feels like a vacation being back there.
it
It
kinda
really
does, yeah.
does.
Yeah,
Because it's so...
yeah, we do have a lot of love for that area too.
Yeah. And they have a great margarita stand. I'll just throw that out there.
Amen.
awesome.
Gonna have to find that. Let's get out of here.
Okay, I'm so glad that the two of you went first because I've been over here writing things down and crossing them out and writing other things down. So, okay, my first one, I think that I talk about this one maybe too much and love it too much considering that I'm a full-grown adult.
I know.
You know what I'm going to
Yep,
say?
I do.
Story time with Belle.
Yep.
I love that at Magic Kingdom. Even though our kids, I'm sure, won't want to do it anymore because they're older.
Yep.
It's so sweet and so interactive with the little ones, and they get to participate, and it's just it's never the same because of the level of audience participation. And I just find that to be kind of a little tiny slice of magic hiding over there at Magic Kingdom.
And I think it's going to reopen.
Is it?
Yes.
I hope so.
They have not officially set the date, but
Yes.
they have said that it's coming back.
Yeah.
Yay.
Hooray!
That makes me so happy. My second one, I'm going to go over to Animal Kingdom as well. The Finding Nemo, the musical show over there. Maybe it does get enough hype, but I think that people should see it. I love the way that they've done that whole show. It's still there, isn't it?
Well,
Is it?
It's temporarily unavailable, but it will be back very soon.
See, all my
Again, we
favorite
don't
things
have an
are
official
gone.
date, but they did. The good news is they did call back the cast members, and they've started running rehearsals.
Awesome. That's great. And then my third one, I'll go with mini golf. Any of the Walt Disney World mini golf. Those are so much fun.
Which is included in your package.
Yeah.
Typically, 4 free mini golfs that I think people probably leave on the table
Yeah.
and forget to do it.
Exactly.
But it's a great midday.
Nice
After
way
you get
to
out of the pool, go
Yeah.
mini golf and then head to dinner.
Yes.
Nice way to get away from a crowd for a little bit.
Absolutely.
So
Well, those are all excellent. Yay. Hopefully, there are 9 things that people will now do more of.
And
when
if
they
not,
open.
we'll all go do it
We'll
for
all
you.
go do
Right.
those.
Yeah.
We just know the lines are short, and there's nobody there doing those things because
Y'all
you
can
know.
go wait for Seven Dwarfs. again.
Exactly. Amen.
Yep.
Oh goodness. So the 50th anniversary finally got here. It got derailed by a pandemic. Budgets got transitioned. Things didn't open when we thought they were going to. Other things opened before we thought they were going to. And there's one person who can tell us all about it. So Amy Fisher got to be there on October 1st, on the first day of the 50th anniversary. So what was that like? Where did you guys start out your day on the 1st?
So we stayed at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, and we purposely rented a car because we anticipated that traffic was probably going to be a little crazy, and we weren't sure I think most people who've stayed on Disney property realize that sometimes the buses are amazing, and then other moments the buses can be a little crazy. And from Animal Kingdom Lodge, your only option for transportation is the bus. So we were like, we're going to rent a car and see what happens. And we arrived at the Ticket and Transportation Center because we were headed to Magic Kingdom to be in Magic Kingdom on October 1st. We got there by, I think it was like 6:30 in the morning. The park didn't officially open until 8 a.m. Just 9 a.m., 8 a.m. Very early, etc.
You were there early.
We were there very
Regardless.
early. However, we got there and found out that there had been people already there for 2 hours.
Oh my goodness.
However, we were glad at the way that we timed it because we hopped immediately on a monorail, didn't have to wait for it, went straight over, which we were like, oh my gosh, there's going to be huge crowds, etc. And they had we were on the monorail at 6:30 in the morning. At 6:30 in Magic Kingdom was when they actually opened the gates and let people enter onto Main Street.
Oh, wow.
So about 10 minutes later,
Yeah.
by the time we arrived at Main Street, everybody was already out there. So we got to just like walk out onto Main Street instead of sitting in a mass of people.
Sounds kind of perfect.
So it was
Accidentally
excellent,
perfect.
like accidentally perfect on our part. And you could just feel the energy when you walked into the park. The cast members were super excited. They were out waving and greeting everyone. I will say that even as we first walked down Main Street, the line to get into the Emporium was ridiculous. Now, don't get me wrong. I love my Disney shopping. However, fights broke out in the Emporium before the park even officially
Oh my
opened.
goodness.
People were kicked out for fighting in the Emporium because there was some limited edition only on October 1st merchandise that came out.
Oh my
I
God.
promise you none of it was worth that. And people waited over 4 hours apparently to get into the Emporium that morning. It was a little bit over the top.
That's
Just
amazing.
saying. Most of the things that you're interested in, they're going to continue to restock for the next
Yeah.
18
for
months.
sure.
So it's
Yeah.
like it's not worth fighting with anyone.
Yeah.
But as you walk down Main Street again, cast members are waving and we're so excited that you're here. They gave us a special park map that was for that day only.
Oh, wow.
Super excited. Like I was sitting there, I'm like, how do I put this in my bag
Yeah,
without,
yeah.
you
Do
know,
you go back to the
wrinkling
hotel and just drop
all
it
that?
off?
I'm just like, oh my gosh. So I like stuck it in between things in my bag to try to make sure that it wouldn't get wrinkled. And I'm like, it's so pretty. And then because we were Walt Disney World Resort guests, Disney guests get to have early park entry. So you can go ride attractions 30 minutes before the park officially opens. And myself and the other travel planner from Goofy Getaways had decided that our goal for the day of October 1st was that we were going to ride all of the original attractions that had been at Walt Disney World on October 1st, 1971. And so it was like, okay, we know, and we thought there were going to be huge lines for those attractions.
Right. For sure.
Because we're like, hey, these are going to be the popular ones. And so we were like, okay, we should try to knock out an attraction or two. So park opened at 7:30, or actually it was 7 a.m. that they let us go and start going on to attractions. And so we headed, but they only let you go through for those early park entry areas. You can only go to the Fantasyland entrance that's headed towards like the Teacups and
Okay.
Seven Dwarf
Yeah.
area, or they only let you towards Tomorrowland.
Okay.
So like
So it's
Space
that
Mountain.
to the right of
So
the
like
castle,
it's
basically.
only to the right of the castle,
Okay.
so you have to pick like one of those two directions to head. You can then like loop around, but those are the only two ways you can
Okay.
go. So we're like, okay, we're gonna hit Tomorrowland Speedway first. We get in line. There's like 3 people in front of us, so we were legit like the first batch of people to hop on the Tomorrowland Speedway on October 1st. Again, like cast members were so excited. They were like, did you know this is an original attraction? They gave us Mickey Mouse stickers. It was so cute, so fun. And there was just something really special about riding on that attraction, driving around the park in the morning. The sun is really just coming up at that point.
Yeah,
And it
for
was
sure.
just like beautiful and quiet and peaceful and just really, really fun. And then we went back out into the hub because we were like, they're going to do a big opening show.
Yeah.
right? We're like, oh my gosh, when the park opens at 8 o'clock, there's going to be a big show.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're going to watch
The
it.
rededication
Right.
or
Yes.
something along those lines.
Yes. Well, guess what didn't happen?
Oh, no.
There was, so they did, if you've ever been at Magic Kingdom, there is like a very brief,
Yeah.
Good morning show
Yeah.
where the, Mickey and Minnie and pals come out and dance on the stage for like a minute or two and welcome everybody into the park. There's a quick shot of fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
That was exactly what they did that morning.
Oh.
That's interesting.
That in and of itself was just a little bit of a letdown. I'm like, you didn't even have to have Bob come up. Like, I legit would have been really happy
Yeah.
just to hear like Roy's voice when he dedicated Walt Disney World. Like,
Yeah.
just replay
Yeah.
that speech. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care. Or even, a playing of Walt saying something or,
Yeah.
just anything magical would have been really cool from that standpoint. It was still cute to see the characters out there in their 50th celebration outfits, which I will
Yeah.
say look fabulous.
Yes.
I'm like, if they made those dresses in an adult size,
Right.
they make the mini dress in a little girl size, I would totally buy it.
There's
if they
still
made it a boy
17
size.
months left. I feel like it's coming. Like, we're going to get there.
That's probably true. And if not, I'm sure enough people will make one.
Yes,
Like, I
so.
could probably
I'm sure.
find one on Etsy
Yeah.
at this point.
I bet
if
you can today.
If I was willing to sacrifice enough money. But so it was still fun to see that. And again, like the crowd and energy level was very, very high. And it was just special to get to be there. And again, it was really fun to go do those opening day attractions. We got to all of them throughout the course of the day. So that was very, very fun.
Can you name them all without a cheat sheet?
Without my cheat sheet, probably not.
I can't. I would have to look at the list and then guess because I know I can't do it.
Let me think if I can remember. So for sure we did Tomorrowland Speedway, we did Dumbo, we did the teacups, which by the way, I do not normally do the teacups, and we did that early in the morning, and I'm very proud of myself for not losing it on the teacups.
I find those more difficult the older I get.
Yes. I am not a spinning ride person, but hey, we did the teacups and we managed.
Now you were with travel planner Catherine, I
Yes.
believe. Did
Yes.
she spin you?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, because that was the deal. I was like,
You're like, I'll do this, but
I
you
will
keep
do
your
this,
hands
but
off
you
that
can't.
disc.
Yeah, you cannot. And I told her, I warned her, I said, this could take me out for the rest of the day. Because I've done that on spinning rides before, and then I have vertigo,
That's it,
and
yeah.
I'm out, and I'm
Yeah.
done, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
It's less magical.
Fair warning, I could just be lying on the hub grass for the remainder of the day. This is what happens, which thankfully was not. So the teacups, maybe they're gentler early in the morning. I'm not sure. But it went okay. So, or maybe the poor cast member heard that this girl was talking about dying in the line. But a lot of them we walked almost directly onto. So that was that.
Because there were 22,000 people in line for the Emporium.
Right. Oh my goodness, and fighting. Like,
Yeah.
really, that's not magical,
That
people.
bummed me. That bummed me out.
Like,
So
yeah.
boo.
And then Peter Pan, It's a Small World, Haunted Mansion, Jungle Cruise, The Tiki Room, Country Bear Jamboree. I feel like I'm missing one.
I'm curious about Pirates.
I have
Did
the list
Pirates
pulled
open
up.
later?
I don't know how accurate it is.
Did I miss any?
This
Those are the ones
seems
I remember riding. We did ride
Yeah.
Pirates that day, but Pirates was not originally
Interesting.
open.
I don't see pirates on this list.
Okay.
But I
Pirates was
don't
not
know. I
open
can't
on
vouch for the
original day.
validity of this list.
The only other, like, quote-unquote attraction that was there, the only one that we didn't officially do, was the shooting arcade.
Oh. Yeah.
Which, to me, I was like, that's not a show or a ride.
Yeah.
So,
This
I
list
get
has
that it was there, but I didn't do that one.
Swiss Family Robinson
Yes,
Treehouse. Did
we
you
did.
do that?
We did
You
go through
did
the
it.
treehouse.
Job.
We did go through the treehouse.
Wow.
That was the other one. By the way, that's also an underrated area with really great views of the park.
Okay.
Really?
Okay. I'll give you really great views of the park.
I
I don't know. That one just doesn't.
I feel like I
just-
walk so much when I'm there. I don't want to do a whole
Let
bunch
me
of stairs
rephrase it.
too.
It's a really great place to let children run around, and yet they're like maintained within the maze.
There you
Okay.
go.
Acceptable.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Oh,
great
goodness.
views.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, you talked a lot about how magical it felt and how all the cast. Did that translate to the other parks? Over the course of that weekend, did they all feel that enthusiastic about it, or do you think it was more because Magic Kingdom was the original
I think it was mostly like that first half of the day at Magic Kingdom. Because I'll be very frank with you. Like, we were literally in Magic Kingdom from open to close that day.
Oh, okay.
Or I don't think we officially closed down the park because it stayed open a couple hours after fireworks. And I'm not going to lie, after fireworks and being around crowds of people for that long, I was like, I'm out. Yeah. So it, like, there's always something magical in the air at Disney.
Oh, for sure.
But nothing was quite the same as those, especially those first couple hours in Magic Kingdom on October 1st. Like, there was just something very different there. And I think it was also very different in Magic Kingdom that day because it was a lot of bloggers and social media people and annual pass holders who were there. And so it's these people who we love Disney through and through. Right. You know, I almost feel bad if somebody was there at Walt Disney World for the first time on that day. Yeah. Because it was like, that's not how Disney normally is.
We had some clients who had planned to go right after the first, and I said, if you can do this 2 weeks ahead of time, like mid-September, I think you're going to have a less insane time.
Little better time, for sure. So, yeah, it was... Because even like simple things like mobile ordering your food, it was just very busy. And again, it's a lot of annual pass holders who know how to mobile order. So the My Disney Experience app crashed partway through the day on October 1st. The internet stopped working in the park because there were so many people trying to blog and post on social media. Sure. You know, so I feel bad for the, you know, those of us who are like, for me, I'm sitting there and I'm like, fine, like I'll be back again in a couple weeks. Like it's
exactly.
Fine.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, but if it was somebody's like only time to be there, that could potentially be overwhelming. And you have to keep in mind, a day like that is not normal.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it doesn't. I mean, we even were at Magic Kingdom a couple days later, and it's like it was not the same.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, the crowd levels dissipate and those kinds of things. Whereas, I mean, there were people who, after the opening show that morning, they literally camped out in the hub all day to watch the brand new fireworks of Disney Enchantment that night.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, you're walking through the park at 11 a.m. and there's already people camped out for fireworks. That's not normal. You know, we even went back.
The only other day that's normal is like New Year's Eve, I think.
But even then, I don't think people camp out quite that early. You know, usually it's...
You just can't move on New Year's Eve.
Yeah. So, and I mean, that was the same case. We found our fireworks spot about 3 hours before fireworks, and it was standing room only, shoulder to shoulder for 3 hours while you were waiting for the fireworks. So it was a little aggressive.
Yeah. Well, let's transition into the nighttime entertainment and the new entertainment offerings overall. So I know you were a big Happily Ever After fan.
Yes.
And so Disney Enchantment replaced that. I was a huge Illuminations Reflections of Earth fan, and Harmonious replaced that.
Technically, Harmonious replaced Epcot forever because Illuminations retired earlier.
Yes.
We all know how it really is.
Epcot Forever was also shown at Epcot. That's, and then once we talk about those two wonderful new shows, then I want to talk about Kite Tales.
I almost want to start with Kite Tales.
Okay, let's start with Kite Tales.
Let's start with Kite Tales.
What did you think of Kite Tales?
You gotta sell me on Kite Tales here.
Because I almost wanted to use that as my underrated thing that I was going to talk about. Okay, you have to think like almost from a cult culture mindset that it's just one of those things, like it's so cute and silly and you're just like, should I be enjoying this? This is a little weird, but it's so cute at the same time. Like, and I think it's one of those things like big Disney people are really, really going to love it and enjoy it because it's just kind of one of those like, I'm not sure why I love this, but I do.
Okay.
Like, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but think about it like, you know, Tomorrowland Transit Authority, like the People Mover, right? Like,
everybody loves the People Mover.
Everybody loves the People Mover. Is it that exciting of an attraction? No, I don't mean, again, don't knock me. I love People Mover, okay? But, like, to me, it's almost one, like, that type of a concept of, like, why people will love Kite Tales. Right. It's very cute. I will say it's very entertaining for kids. Highly recommend watching from the Rivers of Light Theater area in front of the Nemo show.
Okay.
As opposed to the entrance over by Expedition Everest.
Okay.
Because that's where they do, like, they have cast members who come with little kites and all that kind of stuff, and sometimes they'll hand things out to the kids.
Okay.
Kids
That's-
interact. It's only about 10 minutes long, so it's like the perfect length of time that it's cute and entertaining, and then you move on.
And there are 2 or 3 different ones.
There's at least
a Jungle
2. There's a
Jungle Cruise.
Jungle
Jungle Book.
There's a Jungle Book one and a Lion King one.
And I thought I saw Crush. I thought I saw Nemo kites.
There are Nemo kites, but my understanding is there's not an official show at the moment with them.
interesting.
They just
Okay.
kind of come into the beginning
Okay.
or the end of the other 2 is what it
Interesting.
looks like so
Okay.
far.
Okay.
But
So-
it's very cute and definitely worth checking out, actually.
Okay. So I gotta say,
You don't need to camp out. You
Right.
can, just go sit and watch it when it's time. And you can find the times in the My Disney Experience app,
Right.
which is great.
Cool. So, from an outsider perspective of somebody who wasn't there, what we saw were viral videos of these kites crash landing in the stands.
So that's how they land
And
them.
that is
It's so
Disney had to
entertaining
come out
to
and make a
watch.
statement that said,
It's
no,
so
no,
entertaining to
this is
watch.
normal. So it's like, there's the show up above, but there's also the show of watching these suckers crash. I mean,
Well, and then
Yeah.
when you watch it, you realize so there's a person driving the jet ski, because that's how they fly the
Right,
kites around,
right.
and then there's a person who's holding on to the kite and like moving it around on the back of the jet ski.
Okay.
And when they land their kite, they get so excited. I think that might be part of why it's they're
that's
cheering and they're like
That's so funny.
so excited for it. And you're just so you get so excited for them.
Okay.
Or like one of them, you could tell they didn't quite make the landing they were hoping for, and so they're like, one of the you could see their arm moving, like, oh, stay there, and so you're like rooting for the jet ski people as part of it too. It's very entertaining.
does seem like
I
it has
promise
a
I will
lot
sit
of-
down and watch it.
Yeah,
I will go see it.
Watch it in person, because I
Yeah.
100% agree. Like the videos that you watch of it, and you're like, really?
I was like, when I watched the videos, I was just hoping for more. This is a term that I've never thought I would use. I was hoping for more jet ski choreography. Like, I feel like
Because
they're
who doesn't
like
love
they
jet ski choreography?
No, they've got this big lagoon and they've got
Especially at
these
Disney,
giant
I
kites,
mean.
and so what I was anticipating was not just circles, but they just make circles, which is it's fine, it's cute, it's pretty, it looks nice, but in my mind I was like, oh, why couldn't they just do this like they do the character flotillas that just let's drag a kite through the park.
Yeah.
But they'd still have to get under the bridges.
I think there's
is
just probably too much. I don't know that they can't control for.
foliage.
Yeah, foliage. But like if you get a windy day, then everything is going
okay.
to be off a little
All right.
bit, and so they probably had to find.
My Disney
the
opinion is that I'm wrong.
safest-
I get it.
My Disney opinion is that you're wrong.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
Generally.
Oh goodness. Okay. So
Kite Tails
I'm a
is
little
cute,
I'm
and
a
I
little more
recommend
sold on Kite Tails. Do you want to do Enchantment next?
Sure.
Okay. Disney confession time. I never saw all of Happily Ever After
Why?
because I we need to
You
pause
just
so
broke
Amy can
Amy's
cry.
heart
I
a
know.
little bit. Did you
Do you
see-
want me to sing it and
It was
That was the sound of Amy's heart breaking. It was
it
the
was
saddest
always-
thing.
It's fine. I
So-
watched it enough for everyone.
So I've seen the fireworks and I've seen the projections, but I was never in the right place because we never got out there early enough to get that prime location where you could see the projections and the fireworks together. Mm-hmm. So we never actually saw the whole show. We saw it in bits and pieces. We saw it from weird angles, and it was awesome. And I always just wished that we had stopped running from ride to ride, which is how we
so
do
not
things.
our style.
I know. Sometimes now it probably would be. We could.
Let's slow down
Now
for
that
2
we've-
hours to wait for a show. Why would we do that when we can see how many rides we can cram in?
I will say Happily Ever After was definitely one of those shows, like, for the most part, if you got somewhere out in the hub, you could probably find a halfway decent spot to watch and see
Yeah.
pretty well, which was good.
We got stuck under trees and awnings,
Oh, yeah,
and
that
so
makes it.
yeah, I've had a tree in front of the castle so I could see the fireworks, and I've had an awning in Tomorrowland so I could see the projections but none of the fireworks. So like
You're like, well, that's
Please let us plan your Disney trips, but don't let us plan where you watch the fireworks from.
Or in other words, just don't watch the fireworks where they watch the fireworks.
Exactly.
Right. We can tell you where not to go.
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of
hey, sometimes
bad
that's half the
locations.
battle.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Disney Enchantment.
Okay, so let me also preface this by saying part of what I loved about Happily Ever After is I am very into music, especially lyrics and things that draw out emotions. Happily Ever After did that very, very, very well. Okay, it was very much this story. If you can remember back to when they also had Wishes, Wishes had a lot of like that emotional tug, heart pull. Disney's Enchantment is a very cute fireworks show. And I do still recommend that people watch it. I will use that as my initial preference.
Okay.
However, for me personally, the song is cute and catchy, but it's not an emotional song. Like, it's a fun song, because it's like the most magical place on earth. It's legit on my Disney playlist now. Like, I listen to it. It's even on my Run Disney playlist, because it's just that upbeat, fun song. Great. But like, Happily Ever After, I would listen to that in the car, and I would still cry, driving down the road. It's not the same emotional pull there. And then for me, Happily Ever After, I loved the storyline of it and the way that the projections were put on the castle and how the projections and the fireworks fit together for that. For Disney's Enchantment, we watched it 2 different nights, because the first night that we watched it, again, we were standing there for 3 hours, shoulder to shoulder with people. And we were in the hub, like in the front half of the hub, but off to the right-hand side. And so when we were watching the show, there were a lot of the projections on the castle, depending on where the projection hit on like the spirals on the castle, you couldn't see what the projection was very clearly. So as somebody who loved the projections from Happily Ever After, I was getting a little frustrated with that. And so I was like, I need to watch the show again, because I couldn't see it properly. So my first recommendation for people who watch Disney's Enchantment is don't watch it from the front half of the hub. Like, actually be further back from the castle so that you can see the projections, because the projections are Disney quality, right? Disney does a nice job with them. But if you're too close, it makes it hard to see them, especially with the new paint job that's on the castle.
Okay.
So just as a heads up there. They also, now as part of Disney's Enchantment, actually do projections down Main Street during part of the show. So the second night that we watched it, we were like, we're going to watch from Main Street, because I want to see what those projections look like. They are really, really cool, but fair warning, they only happen during a couple, like, short chunks of it. It's not during the entire show.
Interesting.
So, but when they are there, they're cute and they're kind of cool. So if somebody can snag a spot on Main Street, that's where we would recommend you watch Disney's Enchantment from, because that is where you're going to be able to see the projections on Main Street, see the projections on the castle, and see the fireworks all at the same time. Again, still a very cute show. It plays in, Happily Ever After, even though it was, 4 or 5 years old at this point, there's a lot of Disney movies that have come out, especially even in the last year or two with COVID, that they've released on Disney Plus. They put a lot of these fun movies in there, like Coco is in there, and just all these fun ones. There's a nice tribute to like Princess and the Frog in it and that kind of stuff. So a lot of like the newer movies that kids are going to recognize, children will still absolutely love and enjoy this show. Disney obviously does the best of the best when it comes to nighttime shows and fireworks. It's still an excellent show. Does it tug at my heartstrings the way Happily Ever After did? No. Do I still miss Happily Ever After? Of course. But at the same time, would I still go watch Disney's Enchantment when I'm in Magic Kingdom? Yeah, I would absolutely still watch it. And again, I'll still recommend it to clients to go and watch. The only difference for me would be for like Happily Ever After. That was one that so I go on Run Disney weekends where I have to get up at 2:30 in the morning. Ooh. Okay. So I pick and choose which nighttime shows I would stay out late and watch. Where Happily Ever After was one I would always stay. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care if I don't get any sleep. I have to watch this. I don't feel that same way about Disney's Enchantment. So still a very good show. Definitely recommend it. Just not quite as emotional.
Gotcha. And so your emotional tie to Happily Ever After is the emotional tie I felt to Illumination's Reflections of Earth, because that debuted when I was a cast member, and I was at Tower of Terror, and along with Illuminations was the Tapestry of Nations parade, and some of my fellow cast members were drummers in that parade, as well as being bellhops at Tower, so it was fun to go over and watch them, and just that was all part of the experience for me, was that awesome moment where this show is debuting and people are going, wow, this is amazing, this means something.
Yeah.
And We Go On was, like you were saying, you tear up during Happily Ever After. Like that one still gets to me.
Yes.
And I miss that dearly.
Yeah.
So how am I going to do at Epcot now, my friend?
So I will say that out of all of the nighttime shows, which now there's only 2 at this point in time, Harmonious is my favorite at Walt Disney World at this point in time. Like if I was going to pick and choose between Enchantment and Harmonious, I would go watch Harmonious hands down. And that is one that I would stay up late and sacrifice sleep on a Run Disney
I'm
weekend.
excited for it. We watched the live stream, loved it. It's different. It's like they're 2 different sports.
Yeah. I don't think it's anything
Harmonious.
like Illuminations was, but it feels very like present Epcot and telling that story of where Epcot is at in its journey as a park at this point in time. And it's beautiful. I enjoy the fireworks. So the barges that sit in the middle, I still wish they would move those during the day. I'm like, if you could just move them during the day and put them back out at night,
a couple jet skis.
That would make it perfect to me. Because I don't like that I can't get my World Showcase, full picture without, the barges anymore. But otherwise, I'm like, I love that show. I have heard complaints from other people that there isn't narration with Harmonious.
Interesting.
It is
that's true.
It is all a story of music, and it is just the songs. And so some people are like, I miss that aspect, because we often have amazing narrators for Disney nighttime shows.
True.
Yeah.
And so I personally didn't feel like that was missing from the show. I didn't need that as a storyline. But I have heard from other people that they were like, oh, I wish that it had, that narrator and to tell that type of a story. It's, again, very beautifully done. It has these water fountains. The projections that they put on those barges that are out there are super cool. Make sure that you just position yourself somewhere that you can see the barges that are on the water. They do also have projections on the Stargate.
Yes.
In the middle. However, I was there. I saw part of it. So I saw it fully 2 times. And then one night I came in as it was like finishing and saw that like middle part. Like, I still think the show's amazing without being able to see that middle part. So pick anywhere in the World Showcase that you can see the barges and you'll be golden to be able to enjoy that show. So it's very beautifully done from that standpoint. Again, I have a very strong emotional connection to music and the lyrics of music. And one of my favorite things about this show is that they take so many of your Disney favorites and they start it in English and then they switch to whatever the language is of the movie. Hunchback of Notre Dame has the best soundtrack in the entire world. So they start that song and then they start singing it in French and you're just like, oh my gosh.
I did love that.
It's beautiful. Yeah. So the music in that is... that's top notch, and that one makes me tear up.
Yeah, I like how it's the music is bringing everybody together, because the songs are all the same no matter what language they're sung in, and that's a good message for everybody at this point.
And then I will also tell you that the exit music when Harmonious is done, best soundtrack.
Really,
everyone. So I watched it on October 2nd, we watched it on September 30th and on October 2nd, and both times, everybody, adult, kid, everyone is dancing their way out of the park as they're listening to that soundtrack as you're exiting when the show is done. I'm like,
that's cool.
That's so cool.
That's a good
really
time.
that's the unifying of music.
Yeah, it's just so fun and so beautiful. And again, I think anybody of any age would enjoy watching and seeing that show. So that one takes the cake for me.
Cool. So there's a lot of new stuff. There is more new stuff than we could possibly talk about. I believe the official stat is 1 billion new food items.
That sounds pretty official.
I think that was on a press release. I saw it. I'll have to go back and look. I think it's 1 billion. But there's so much new food. There's so many, I don't know, just new merchandise, new opportunities, new attractions. Ratatouille opened while you were down there.
Yes.
It's identical to the version in Paris. Did you get on it? What did you think of that?
I did.
attraction?
I did get on it. So I got lucky enough. I arrived a few days before the 50th, and I had an annual pass holder like sneak preview, so I didn't have to worry about the virtual queue or anything like that. Did that and actually rode it twice that night, so I could fully take it in. It's a very cute ride. I'm not the type of person to wait for a long time in any ride queue in general.
For sure.
So keep that in mind. I probably wouldn't wait more than 30 minutes for it. But I love that it's an attraction that anybody could ride and enjoy.
Okay.
So, little kids, adults, everybody's going to be able to enjoy it. It's cute.
Do you think it's going to see the same kind of clamoring for virtual queue spots that Rise of the Resistance did or will?
I don't think so, because the cult following for Star Wars is going to be very
for sure,
different.
For sure.
And the people who want to do Star Wars related rides are like my age demographic.
Yeah, no,
who
for
are
sure.
going to be obsessed
Yeah,
with doing a
absolutely.
virtual queue.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Whereas, like, if I'm there with my little children, I'm not sure, if I don't get a virtual queue, am I freaking out about it? Probably not. I'm just not going to tell my child that I didn't get a virtual queue, and they won't know.
Cool.
Whereas, if you've got a teenager who's obsessed with Star Wars, they might throw a fit if you don't get on Rise of the Resistance. So it's definitely very cute. I would highly recommend that people, ride it, check it out. Would I pay the individual lightning lane cost for it?
$15 question of the day, or seven. There's the $7 to $15 question of the day per person.
For me personally, no. But I also probably wouldn't pay extra for almost any attraction. I would either pick a time of day when it has a short queue, or not ride it.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
Personal opinion on that one.
So as things are not finished opening, there's still more to come for the 50th. What are you most looking forward to that's scheduled to open in the next 18 months, or that you didn't get to see while you were down there? What are you excited for as the 50th moves on?
I actually really want to see the Beacons of Magic from all four parks.
Okay.
Didn't get to be in Hollywood Studios or in Animal Kingdom after dark after the 50th. And I will say the way that they do Beacons of Magic, both at Magic Kingdom and at Epcot, those were beautiful, very well done. It's like a short, 2-minute, 3-minute little presentation of how they, light up that area. And so I'm like, I can't wait to go and see that at the Tree of Life and at the Tower of Terror. Like, I just think that's a really cool way to incorporate all four parks and to see that. And so I'm like, I definitely want to see that again. I'm not a huge ride attraction person, so I'm probably low on the list of people who care. And I also don't personally care about Guardians of the Galaxy. As movies, I didn't care for them. So
if I was trying to bait you into saying Tron or Guardians, you're going to say neither.
Right, because truthfully, what will end up happening is I tend to go with a friend. I make her ride them first to tell me if I'm going to get motion sick on them. And then she'll come off and tell me, yes, you can ride this, or no, you probably shouldn't.
Well, that's good. You've got your strategy. That's good.
I do have an odd strategy, but it's there and it's in place. And so, will I probably end up riding them at some point? Yes. But would I, rush to be there opening day for either of them? No. However, I do know a lot of people who are especially excited to see this Guardians of the Galaxy attraction. This is going to be brand new. It's going to be unlike any other attraction at any park in the world. So there are no other Disney parks that already have this attraction. Tron already exists over, is it Tokyo?
I think it's Tokyo.
Just like Remy, existed over in Disneyland Paris. This Guardians of the Galaxy, this is 100% unique for us. And so
yeah,
I guess I would say I'm more excited for that just because it's unique for us.
Yeah. All right. So before we wrap up, as as anybody who's listened has noticed, we all like to eat a lot at Walt Disney World, and sometimes that's all we do there, depending on when we go. So what kinds of things did you see that were unique to the 50th popping up in either quick service or table service locations that you were excited about? I mean, you can't name them all because, like I said, there's a billion.
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I
It's a billion.
I think almost every menu updated overnight and has a 50th anniversary option of, everything from most of the table service menus have, it's called Sip-A-Bration lemonade. It's this, it's their lemonade that they normally would have, but it comes in a cute souvenir cup, and you have a character head that you're able to drop into your cup. Not creepy
What?
at all, but you drop the character head. So the first night that we did it, we got a Donald Duck head. We dropped him into our cup. You stir him into your lemonade. Your lemonade changes color and turns like an iridescent color. So it looks shiny, and it's just so cool. I do recommend getting a glass of water to go with it so that you can...
So you can cut it a little bit.
So you can cut it a little because it's very, very sweet. As somebody
Okay.
who loves sugar, it's very sweet.
So did Donald Duck add flavor or just the color?
Just the color.
Okay.
So, but then the next day we went to a different restaurant and
I want the Pluto flavored lemonade, please.
they had Minnie Mouse at the other one, so that you can get there's different characters at different ones, but that's at almost every single table service restaurant. Many of the restaurants have added this, you'll like this, a chocolate medallion that says the 50th anniversary to almost all of their desserts, which nobody makes chocolate like Disney, and
That
it was
seems
still
how it should be.
Exactly. There should always be an extra piece of chocolate on top of my dessert. Thank you. It's just super fun and special. And all the parks have something special as well. So there's a special ice cream bar at Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios. I don't remember what the treat was. I literally tried the special treat at every park. So
that's a tough job right there.
Right. I mean, it's fine. I was doing it for the research for my clients. I just had to take one for the team.
Absolutely.
The way you show up for the team is really...
Yes.
It's a rough job we have.
Second to none.
It is. Well, Amy Fisher, social media manager for Goofy Getaways and Goofy Getaways travel planner, thank you for hanging out with us and
Thanks for
chatting with
having
us
me.
on what is now a record-setting length podcast for us. This is our longest episode ever, the most we've ever gotten to talk about. We said you are a travel planner. Where can folks reach you if they would like you to help them plan a trip, as opposed to us planning a trip for them because they like your voice and personality better than us?
Yeah.
You've got a lot of knowledge.
Or, if you want to do a Run Disney event. So
Yes.
you can always find me on Instagram at amy.runs.disney, or reach out to me via my Goofy Getaways email, which is amyfisher@goofygetaways.com.
Excellent. And you can find Julie and I on Facebook at Goofy Getaways with Jason and Julie, and on Instagram at Our Disney Opinions. Well, thank you everybody for listening on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We really appreciate everybody who's out there. We'd love it if you could share this with a friend, and thank you for listening to Our Disney Opinions.